And joining on the line, it's great to welcome to Flow from the group Storm and Stone. We have got August. G'day, August. How are you today?
I'm good, Clayton. Yourself?
Doing okay. Loving your song, and the folks are going, when they hear it, they're going to love it too. But before we get to talk about the song and other things, Storm and Stone. Where did the name Storm and Stone come from? Was it a nickname for your personality or your siblings? Or just tell us about yourself and the band. Come on.
Storm and Stone, we have as siblings, we have a very long, almost all of the letters of the alphabet last name, which doesn't quite fit onto passports or onto legal documents. So we felt that naming the band that particular name probably wasn't going to work as well. And at the time when we were kind of beginning to form the band, I was working as a solo artist as August Storm, and my sister was writing under the name Oriel Stone. So when we came together, we were like, Storm and Stone could be a really cool name, but we hadn't quite pulled it together as of yet. And then when our baby brother started to play music, and he was playing guitar all the time, and he's just this incredible guitarist. He was a little bit too young, but as soon as he was old enough, we basically went, you will join us and you will be the and. We will be Storm and Stone.
And he's the and. I love it. Well, I'm just looking at your website, and when you said baby brother, and he doesn't look old enough to he should still be in shorts and back playing at school or something. You said baby, and baby is right.
He does have a very sweet face. I will give him that.
Yes,
but
indeed.
He is definitely legally allowed to be in venues.
Oh dear, but yeah, just looking at it, I just think it's absolutely just when you said baby, it just got me. And even in the video clip that you did for your song too, and he looks very, very babyish next to the two of you singing. So
maybe he just hasn't had the world get to him quite as much yet. I'm not sure, but he's a very sweet and really intelligent and just really lovely individual. Yeah. So we feel really lucky to have him as part of the band. Also, considering that we're siblings, it's one of those things where I don't think he's able to leave now.
So what happened? Where did you guys grow up? What's the story before you sort of got into music and formed the band?
Well, we grew up in the Blue Mountains in a place called Katoomba. Born and bred. We were actually born, all of us were born in the same 2-bedroom miners' cottage in the Blue Mountains. Yeah. And we came from quite humble beginnings in terms of our situations, because we actually lived in that little 2-bedroom house for a very long time together. And we were just really lucky in that our parents were really musical. So they always had instruments lying around the house that we could always just go and pick up and play. Or Mum was always singing. They were always introducing us to new music, because when you don't have a lot and things are tough, music's one of those elements of life that you can always lean on to either listen to entertain yourself, to entertain other people. So it kind of became a source of, I guess, expression, but also escapism for us, each at individual portions of our time. And I think music became something that was a lot more serious for us when our dad, I think I was about 11, he had a stroke. And he came back one day after having a stroke, and we didn't know what was going on because we were quite young, and he just couldn't speak. So he was unable to speak for about 6 to 9 months, and he used music to actually teach himself how to speak again and to reconnect all the neural pathways in his brain. Wow. And it was also the only way that he was able to communicate with us during that time. So we all kind of formed this bond with music because we could see how transformative it is, and it's kind of something that we've always held, each of us individually as musicians, but also just in terms of how we view music. And I think that's part of what kind of makes Storm and Stone who we are as well.
Yeah, the power of music. Wow, that is an incredible story, the power of music. And to do that, even the thought that I need to communicate with my children, how can I do it? And doing it through music and then being able to then speak in that art. That's brilliant. What an amazing thing.
It's honestly, every time I think about it, it gives me chills, because I think it really fundamentally built principles for us individually as people, but as a band, that if you have a goal and you have a reason to do it, and it's the right reason to do it, that you just keep doing it. Even if it's tough, you just keep going at it until you push and tip the scale over. So we really have that when it comes to music.
Which is great to hear. Great to hear. Now, what sort of music was being played as you were growing up? I dare say it would be quite a wide variety.
It was quite eclectic. So when I remember really vividly having Led Zeppelin played all the time. Like, my dad always tells me that when I was like a baby, he used to put me to sleep by putting on Bronya Stomp by Led Zeppelin and then doing the baby elephant walk with me in his arms, and that was the only thing that could get me to sleep. Whereas Oriel remembers Mum singing Dolly Parton and soul music around the house and her falling in love with that. And then for Hal, it was kind of like he was introduced by Dad at that point to indie British rock. So he's like really inspired by like the Arctic Monkeys and Joy Division and all of these like really eclectic bands.
Yeah.
So we kind of got exposed to a lot of different genres throughout and we've grown an appreciation for all of these genres in a big way.
And so how does that then translate when you're sitting down trying to write a song and it sort of comes out with that the country vibe that your song's got, and you've got this real sort of rocky sort of background? Does that filter in? And I'm just trying to work out how you go with your songwriting.
Well, I think with any song, like Oriel, for the most part, has done a lot of songwriting, and a lot, like both myself and Hal are very inspired by how capable Oriel is as a songwriter, and she's very influenced by the country and folk songwriting. Yeah. I mean, I was very influenced by the folk, and I guess I got into more of the country stylings of storytelling and songwriting through Led Zeppelin, because they did actually explore a lot of that in a few of their albums.
The light and shade.
Light and shade, exactly. It's one of the things that I think, no matter what genre you're in, at the heart of what you're making is a story and a narrative that you're telling, whether it's one about yourself, whether it's one about an experience, whether it's one that's for the masses or about being on a farm. Like, it's all centered in storytelling. Yeah. And that's something that I think is a thread through all genres of music. And for us, it's kind of when we come to the table, we'll write like 70% of the song, and then we'll bring it to the table to our siblings and go, here's the song, what do you think? And they'll either love it or hate it. And if they hate it and want to change stuff, it's usually like a moment of, oh, my soul. But then we kind of have to go, well, we've got to have Christmas together. We might as well work this out now before then.
So I've slaved over this brilliant ballad. I've slaved over it, and you're tearing it to shreds. That can be fun.
Exactly. It's never with the intention of trying to tear anybody down. It's always with the intention of making it the best it possibly can be. Because, again, music is something that we've seen in our own lives as being so incredibly transformative that we would hope, in the process of doing it, but also in the music that we create, that we hope that it helps to create transformation in people's lives. I mean, ideally.
And I think being the siblings, when you bring a song and you're discussing it, even though that it might be critical or it might be let's do it this way and change the tempo and all that, and you might not agree with it, you're going to take it more on board than if they were just band members, because you've got that history and they're coming from a different place. There is no 100%. Agenda there. It's all about the group. It's all about the three of you. So I think, whatever criticism or whatever advice when you're discussing the song, it's all for the better anyway. Yeah,
I mean, we definitely approach it that way. I'm sure there's a lot of family bands out there that are like, no, my siblings can just hike it when they give me feedback. But for us, because our family is a really important part of all of our lives, it's kind of like, is this upset in the creative process worth us not speaking to each other for a period of time? Probably not. Let's just work it out.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, your song, Town That Made Me, that's the title of it. And I've just got the little YouTube clip playing at the moment where you performed on the bench at the Country Music Festival at Tamworth back in 2018. Yeah. And that's what makes me look at your baby brother as being so baby. Like, he's just not old enough, surely. But anyway, now, is this song, is it about the town that you grew up in, or is it about a collection of towns that when you've gone away overseas and you've come back, how you felt about where you grew up and even just towns in Australia? What's it all about?
For us, I mean, when Oriel wrote this song, I remember coming back. At the time I was at university, I was doing university in the city, and my folks and family were still up in the mountains, but also my job on the weekend was still up in the mountains. So I was traveling back and forth all the time and just getting extremely exhausted. And I remember coming back one weekend and sitting in Oriel's house, and she played me this song on the piano, and it just made me feel the sense of home and just safety, and like I had a place in the world. And for us, Town That Made Me is very much a song that like for her, it was kind of doing honour to the place that you come from, the people that made you who you are, and the experiences that have made you grow into the person that you have become and are becoming. So, like for us personally, it is about our hometown. It is about the people that are our family and friends that helped us get here. But we also don't want it to just be about our hometown, because everybody has a hometown. It could be that you go to a place or a country that you travel to and it feels like home. Yeah. And it's that sense of feeling at home that this song is about, and doing honour to that.
Well, for me, when I heard it, right at the very end, it made me think of a place that I visited when I was on a holiday years ago, a little place called Inverness. And when I was in Inverness...
I love Inverness.
And I just felt a strange feeling. I just said to my wife and my friends at the time, I said, I just feel like this place is home. I couldn't describe it in any other way but that.
Yeah.
And listening to your song, and each time I listen to it, it just takes me back to Inverness. So don't ask me why, but when you said about it takes you to a place you call home, that's what it's done just for me. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I definitely feel the same way, and I love Inverness. Inverness is a beautiful place. So I understand where you're coming from, and I have that same place with, like, I felt when I went to Iceland. We went on this amazing trip to Iceland once, and just stepping off the plane in Reykjavik, it was just this moment of just like, I feel like I'm home. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about this. It just feels like home. It's the same as when I step into my family's house, like for an event or for like just visiting them. It just feels like home.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm just getting images of Inverness in my head, and I need to stop it. Now, I understand this song's in a movie. How did that come about?
It is. Well, at the time that we were pulling the album together, so we'd done all the writing and we pulled the demos together, we were approached by a production company called Glasshouse Productions, who were pulling together a film called Love You Like That. And they just finished the script. They were gathering all of the people together to start making the film. And it was kind of this beautiful moment where they approached us and asked, do you want to pitch for the opening credits of this film? And of course, us being from the Blue Mountains, not really knowing anything and being a family band, it's like, yes, we know how to do this, 100%, sure. Absolutely, I'll do it. And I remember that we walked in, we then showed them the demos of our album. Like, look, this is stuff that we're working on. You can brief us as to what you kind of want us to write towards, but this is kind of the genre that we're fitting in. Yeah. And I remember going into this meeting with my sister. Oh God, it's still so vivid. We walked into this like fancy cafe restaurant in the middle of the city with like these big glass windows all around to have this very important meeting with the producer and the writer, who, when we sat down, were like, you've got the job. You will,
wow.
We would love for you to write the opening credit song. We've listened to your music. Like, we'd love for you to do that. I remember we walked out and we're like, Oriel and I were just like, yeah, cool. Yeah, like, we can totally do that. We're totally down with that. Yep, we're business people, 100%. And we walked out of the restaurant. We didn't think that they could still see us inside the restaurant. And Oriel immediately leapt into my arms. We started screaming and jumping around and losing our minds.
And then you turn around and they're looking at you. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. We got a text message from the writer going, you know that we can still see you.
Oh, that is brilliant. That is just brilliant.
So embarrassing. But I think in that moment, it was just one of those things where it's like, we are who we are. And we kind of approach everything that way. And then as the film progressed, we kind of showed them the songs that were going onto the album as they were kind of getting fully fleshed out in the studio. And as we showed them, they went, actually, we'd really like to include these songs. And the selection that they made included Town That Made Me, that they felt was the right tone for the film, because the film is about the way that love shows up in many different ways and centres in a single town in a single day.
Wow.
So it kind of just like all came together coincidentally in the best way possible.
That is great. That is a great story. And the film will be out later this year, I gather?
Hopefully. That is what we know of right now, that it is planned for coming out later this year.
Now, you mentioned about some tracks for your album. So when's the album going to be in our hands? When can we hear more of your music?
We're releasing more singles, which are going to be coming out later this year. So if you find us on Facebook or Instagram, we're Storm and Stone Official. And then on Facebook, it's just Storm and Stone. Or if you're down to going to a website on stormandstoneofficial.com, you'll be able to find updates as to when the singles are coming out, when they drop, when the music videos are coming out. But we're planning to release the singles for the rest of this year. And then there should be the album fingers crossed if everything goes to plan, mid next year.
Okay, all right, something to look forward to. Well, it sounds like you're going to have a busy 6 to 12 months there, August. So, wow.
It will be, but it's the best kind of busyness, I think.
Absolutely, totally agree with that. You're going to really enjoy it, and it's going to go like that. You're going to look back, and the next thing you know, you and I are going to be talking about the album and go, and so, what did you do at Christmas time? It's going to be that quick. I could just sense that straight away. Yes.
I look forward to it, to be honest. I really do.
Yeah, me as well. All right, well, August, it has been great chatting to you. Give our best to the Oriole and to your baby brother. I want to see an ID because I'm not sure he's old enough. I need to see.
He's got a little bit of facial hair now.
Where?
Older.
I'm just looking at the photos of him now, and I'd need to get an electron microscope to try and find any on him. Yeah.
Look, it's always a fun game for us in trying to get photos of him because he's very no, I don't want to be photographed. So
yes.
Often duck out of the photo.
Yes, well,
so you and me both.
Yeah, on the website, he's got that shovel next to him, and I thought, is that metaphor before because he wanted to dig a hole and hide in it? So I just did one of that. Anyway,
I didn't think about that.
Give our best to him, and I know we're going to be chatting again. Thank you so much for spending time with us today on Flow. We've got your single here ready to go. If you could please introduce it for all our listeners.
Thank you so much, Clayton, for having us. I'm August from Storm and Stone, and this is our new single, Town That Made Me.
Sun comes up as the moon goes down. I feel hollow, made no sound. I got a small town heart and a big town dream. I'll be sad to leave you here. I was born upon that hill. My mama pushed and then lay still. Daddy came and raised me up. I never can thank him enough. I love the ones that made me. Their secrets whispered on the riverbed. I love the ones that saved me from ever feeling like I couldn't take all that life gave me. Thank you to the town that made me. Annie Ruth lived down the way. She told me that a lady stays strong enough to raise herself and the ones around her up as well. Sometimes life takes a different road than the one you want at 6 years old. Sometimes a song can change a key, but your heart can still be brave and free. I love the ones that made me. Their secrets whispered on the riverbeds. I love the ones that saved me from ever feeling like I couldn't take all that life gave me. Thank you to the town that made me. I saw you